What's going on, everybody? Back for another video. Here we've got to find the center and radius of the circle. So first thing, let's just go ahead and write the equation down again. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to get the constant term on the right hand side by itself. So we've got to add 1 to both sides. And then the other thing we want to do is we want to group the x terms together and we want to group the y terms together. So we're going to write x squared plus 3x and put that in parentheses and leave a little space here. And then y squared minus 2y, put that in parentheses, leave a little space there, equals, and now the 1's cancel. 0 plus 1 is 1. All right. Now we're ready to complete the square on the left-hand side. Complete the square here and here. So what we want to do is we look at the number in front of x. So we want to half that. So we half the 3. Now you can divide by 2 to half it, or you can multiply by a half. It doesn't matter either way. All right, so we half the 3, and then we want to square it. And so that's going to be 9/4. 3 halves times 3 halves is 9/4. So we add the 9/4. And since we added 9/4 to this side, we have to add 9/4 to the other side. And then we look at the number in front of y, which is -2. So we half the -2, that's -1. And then we take the -1 and square it, and that gives us a +1. So we add the 1 here, and since we added 1 on this side, we have to add 1 to the other side. Now, as far as completing the square goes, I did bring the -2 down. If you wanted to, you could just bring the 2 down and half that, and that would give you 1. And then when you square it, you get a +1. Okay, it doesn't really matter if you bring the negative or not, because in the end you're going to square it and it's going to be positive anyway. All right. All right. So now we need to factor the left-hand side. So what's happening here is when you complete the square, you're creating a perfect square trinomial. So it's going to factor into something with parentheses squared. And the easiest way to do this is you look at the first term, x squared. What's the square root of x squared? Well, that's x. And then we look at the sign here, and that's a plus. And then we look at the last term. What's the square root of 9/4? Well, that's 3 halves. And then for this one, the square root of the first term, the square root of y squared is y. And then we use this sign here, minus, and then the square root of 1 is 1. And then this is going to give us 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 9/4. And so we get x plus 3 halves squared plus y minus 1 squared equals. All right, so we've got to add fractions here. So let's come down here and do 2 plus 9/4. And you want to look at it as a fraction, 2/1. So we got to get a common denominator, and we can see the common denominator is 4. Now, what do you have to multiply to that denominator to get the common denominator? Well, you got to multiply 4 to this. So that means we got to multiply 4 to the numerator. So 2 times 4 is 8. And this is just going to stay 9 because 4 is the common denominator. See, for this, you would multiply the 4 by 1. So 9 times 1 is 9. And so this is going to be 17/4. So that's going to be 17/4. All right. So now what has happened is we put this equation here in standard form. We put it in the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And your center is hk, and your radius is r. All right, so here our center, see hk, so that's going to be negative 3/2, 1, that's the center. Now, the one thing to remember here is, see how in the formula you got minus signs here? So whenever you're looking for the center of a circle, it's going to be the sign it's going to be the opposite sign of what you see. So since this is plus, this is going to be minus. Since this is minus, this is going to be plus. And then our radius r, well, this is r squared here. So that's going to be the square root of 17 over 4, which is the square root of 17 over the square root of 4, which is square root of 17 over 2. And there's your radius. All right. Well, I hope that video helped. Check out my other videos. Give me a like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.